coming back to school with me. We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson Wood. I'm the board game teacher. Thanks for coming to my games room. Today we're taking a look at Cytosis by Genius Games. Now, a funny story about Cytosis is I was introduced to this game a long time ago by my friends Maui and Kyle, who are the owners of Level Up Games. And they knew, with me doing this channel and everything, they thought that this game was absolutely perfect for my channel. And it is. It really is. And I'll, sort of spoiler alert, I love this game, and I think it's absolutely phenomenal for anybody who's teaching cellular biology or in any kind of biology. It's a really wonderful educational game. But it's taken me this long to actually get around to making the video for, but it's already been on the Board Game Teacher playlist on levelup.ca for some time now, which is totally okay by me because I do highly recommend this game. And if anybody who's asked about any games to do with science and stuff, I will always mention not only Cytosis, but also Genius Games, because I just think that what they're doing is absolutely amazing with the games that they're putting out and how fun they are and how much educational material is within each game. So without any further gushing, let me take you to the report card. So looking at the report card for Cytosis, I'm going to give the number of players a B+. 4 is my usual sort of range for a B, so playing up to 5 players makes it a B+ in my books. And I think plays 2 beautifully, plays all the way up to 5 beautifully, so any numbers in between is going to be great for your small group center or however you're doing it in your classroom or at home. For learning, I'm going to give this game an A+++++. I mean, this game is amazing. It is absolutely phenomenal. Like, I am not scientifically minded. I mean, I was the person who, in high school, I had to take science up to grade 10, and once grade 10 science was over, I dropped it like a hot potato. It was gone. It was out of my curriculum, it was out of my thought, out of my mind. So a lot of the stuff that's in this game, I never learned about, or if I did learn about it, I'd forgotten about it, because it was just nothing I ever used, nothing that was anything I ever planned on using, so I just never committed it to memory. But in playing this game, I find myself talking about the functions of a cell. I talk about the parts and what they do, and the processes and what each thing's doing. And it's all in process of the game. Coming from me, a person who's not a science-minded person, self-admittedly, to being able to play this game and how much I've learned from playing it. And the more you play it, the more you get familiar with these parts and what they do and everything like that. It's just absolutely amazing. And I think part and parcel too, tied in with the fun, which I'll be talking about right after, because the learning is fun. I mean, it is, and that's what helps to make the learning so great, is because you're taking what is an incredibly dry subject of like cellular biology, but making a really fantastic game out of it, and the learning just comes right through. It's, again, not like one of these trivia games or anything, so if you make sure you watch my extended video if you want to see how this game is played, but it's just amazing. For fun, I'm going to give the game a B+. I think this game is a ton of fun. It's like in the style of what we call in modern board games today a worker placement game. So you're using your different workers to take different actions on the board, but not if somebody's already taken that action before you. And so you're trying to time what you need, when you need it, where you're going, and how you're doing it. It's a very tense, fun game that you're doing all these different actions to do the different things you need to do, which would be all functions within a cell. I really just do enjoy this kind of game, and I think that with these kinds of games where there's multiple paths to victory, multiple things you could be doing, lots of different strategies that you can employ, it's just a really wonderful game. For time, I'm going to give the game a C. I mean, this game is, if I'm recommending this to teachers, this is the kind of game which you are not going to be playing in one period. Not unless your periods are incredibly long periods, or if you're having a back-to-back time. But even in my school, back-to-back would be 80 minutes, and this game says 60 to 90. So depending on the number of players that you're going to have and things, you're really going to need to be carving out a large block of time to do this, or maybe play it in parts. So they do part in one day, maybe take pictures of where things are, and then set it up and play again the next day or something. I don't really know how that would work in the thing, but again, even if you're playing, just part of it, like, I mean, I guess to play the full game, to really get the full extent of it, you're going to need to play the full time, but maybe there's a way you could modify it, or at least just play through some of it to get some sense of it. Or if you're playing at home, then absolutely no problem. Because like I said, I think there's just so much good to be had in this game, and what you're learning from it, it's just unfortunate that it does take quite a long time to play, which would make it difficult to implement in classrooms. But if you're, I haven't taught high school before, so I'm not sure how teachers might go about doing that, but if you can find a way to incorporate this into your classroom somehow, and you're a biology teacher, I say 100% go for it. For cost, I'm also going to give the game a C. I mean, I think it's a great value. It's a, for what you're getting in the box, it's a great game, and it's definitely a great teaching tool. Unfortunately, it's about $45, and for 5 players, $45, I mean, if you ever dream of getting a class set, it's going to cost you a small fortune to do so. And again, not that I'm saying it's not worth it, because I think there's a lot of good to be had in this game, but it would probably be one that would be better being done in a center where one group is playing while the other groups are doing other things, then rotate through. So if you are a lover of science, or somebody who's teaching science, or want to learn more about science, particularly about cellular biology, then check out Genius Games for start. I think that their whole lineup of games is absolutely phenomenal. Not only games, they do some books and stuff as well, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But check out Cytosis. Alright, let's take this to the table and I'll show you how it's played. So this is the Cytosis board all set up here for, this would be for a 2-player game, because I put 2 colors out, but also one thing to keep in mind, when you're playing with less players, you get more of these flasks. These flasks are your workers that you're going to put in these different rectangle spots to indicate which action you wish to take. And so if you're playing 2 players, you're playing with all the flasks, but as you play 3, 4, or 5 players, then you're getting less flasks, because the board's just going to be busier. There's going to be less, you're just going to be running out of space to do things before too long with a game with more players. So in the game, like many games, you're trying to score points, and the points are scored along the track up here. And the way to get the points is that you're looking to achieve certain objectives. So the objectives you're achieving, now every game you're going to be having these different goals that are up here. And these goals, one here says that for additional points for producing enzymes. And we see we have some enzymes down here that we can be producing. Steroid hormones. So if there's steroid hormones, there's no steroid hormones currently out. There's the receptor, but it's not the receptor, it's the hormone itself. And then we have the protein hormone receptor. So we have steroid hormones and the protein hormone receptors. So there's the protein hormone receptor. So you're getting bonus points for this one. So as you're building things, you may help to be looking at these to gain the bonus points for which things you're going to be going for. And this helps to give you some direction, but then it's also telegraphing to your opponents as to what that direction might be, as to what kinds of cards you might be looking for, so they may be taking things just to thwart you. So as you're going through the game, you're going to be using your flasks as workers, like we call, as I said, we call this a worker placement game, and you're going to put them on different spots. So let me just sort of start off right here. So let me just say first off that we have, all over the board, we have the names of the different parts. So we have the nucleus, we have the smooth endoreticulum, the rough endoreticulum, the mitochondria, Golgi apparatus, and so on. So as you're talking through the game, as you're doing things, okay, you're saying, okay, I'm going to go to the rough endoreticulum, and I'm going to synthesize. So it tells you what you're doing here with the rough endoreticulum. Now, actually, I couldn't do that first because I would need the mRNA here to be able to put into the rough endoreticulum. One thing I just want to say quickly too is that the pieces that I have here are, because I have the collector's edition, I managed to buy a Kickstarter copy from somebody, and so I'm very happy to have these nice wooden pieces and things. I just enjoy these more than the cardboard ones that would come in a regular retail box. So if you do get the game, just be aware that you're not going to be having the same pieces as these. I just don't have a retail copy to be able to show. So say my plan is that I maybe want to build some protein hormones. So maybe the first thing I'm going to do is I'll go down here and I'll take this one. So now this one says free. So I can take this card without paying anything. So I'll take this card, and now this becomes mine. And I can keep this in my hand. And it's a protein hormone receptor. So look at this card here. It says I need 2 reds, which are the proteins, and I need 1 green, which is a carbohydrate. So I'm going to need to get those things onto this card in order to activate it. And once I have it all, then I pay my 2 energy, which is the ATP here. I pay the 2 energy, and then I've got that. And then I get 4 health, which is my points. So I have the card, and that's my first action. My opponent does an action, comes back to me, and I do another action. So knowing that I need some of the proteins here. Now, in order to do this, it's showing the red background here, whereas this one's showing the blue. So this means I'm coming to the referendoreticulum here in order to make this card happen. So maybe the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come here. So now it says 3 and 2. So the first person who comes here gets that thing. So I get 3. If I came here, I'd get 2. But obviously I'm going to take the better one. So I'm going to take 3 of the mRNA here. And so now that's with me. My opponent takes a turn, comes back to me. Now I go to the referendoreticulum, I put something here. Now you take one of these things and you put these down here, and then at this point, this is where I turn my mRNA into protein. So this happens as a process in the referendoreticulum. So I'm taking 2, because I need 2 for the card. So I'm taking 2, I convert those into 2 proteins, and I put it on there, and I'm done. And then my opponent takes their final turn, or next turn I take my final turn, and I come down here to the Golgi apparatus. In the Golgi apparatus then, I slide my lipid down there, and this is now where a protein, or carbohydrate rather, gets added to the thing. Now this is I'd have to have this carbohydrate first to be able to add to the thing. But this is the process of the game. You're putting your pieces down, you're moving around, you're gathering the resources you need. So you're coming here to the mitochondria to get your energy. You can turn 1 carbohydrate into 6 energy one time, otherwise you're getting 3 or 2 energy. Here you can turn you can get your carbohydrates. In the cytoplasm here is where you're synthesizing your enzyme. So if you have this enzyme card, you have the necessary pieces, you can come here, synthesize your enzyme for your points. Just all kinds of different things you're doing. And so you're just gathering the cards, you're putting them down, trying to achieve your goals. Every time you're completing a card, you're getting the points for it. Like with the protein receptor, every time I build another protein, I'm getting a bonus point on that protein. So that would come from cards like this, where I get the protein hormones. So this protein hormone would give me 8 health when I build it, but if I already had the receptor up, I'd get +1. Now say my opponent built this, they would get the 8 points, but then I would get +2 because I have the receptor. And so the game goes on, and you're just, every round these cards keep shifting down and getting replaced by new cards, and new cards are coming up, and you're trying to go for different things. There's things for alcohol detoxification and for proteins and such, and you just keep going through doing the functions of the cell until the game ends. So I think it's just a wonderful thing to be able to play the game and really talk about the processes and things that are happening and going on as you do it. There's just so much opportunity for so much learning and discussion and meaningful discussion, because now you can actually apply it to things as you see them, and things become more meaningful because you are talking about things that you're doing with understanding. I found that my whole understanding of cellular biology has increased manyfold just by playing this game, and understanding the different parts now and what they do and things like that. I can talk about these things with a bit more knowledge than I'd had before, and that's a fantastic thing. And I've only played it a handful of times so far, but I'm certainly looking forward to playing this one some more. And that is Cytosis. So one other thing I just wanted to talk about with this game, and this is something that Genius Games does with every game that they make, is that they include information which contains all the background information of what's going on. So if you want more detailed information, sort of follow up for discussion or independent learning, if this is something that you're doing on your own, they have these things. Like this is Cytosis, the science behind the game. So they have, it's just 2 double-sided pages here of information of all the different parts and what they're doing and what the processes are and things like that. So if this is something that you would like to know more about, or if this is something that you're teaching about and want the students to know more about, certainly encourage them to read as they're playing and talk about these things as you're playing as well, just to help to reinforce the knowledge and everything. They are creating these carbohydrates, they're creating the energy, they're producing the proteins, and doing all these things through the processes of a cell, and gaining a great understanding, because it's now more. They turned something like cellular biology into a kinesthetic thing where they can actually manipulate and do things on their own, and that's just a wonderful, amazing thing. So check this out, and check out the whole game of Cytosis. Well, that's going to wrap it up for today's episode. If you have any questions about Cytosis or Genius Games or anything else about board games or any games you might like to recommend, please leave me a message in the comment section below. If you have any ideas for other maybe companies out there that are doing some great work with educational board games, please let me know about that too. Message me in the comment section below and I'll be sure to reach out to them. Well, until next time, I'm Craig Thompson with the Board Game Teacher saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school with me? We could